All right, then let's start with the sketch. So all those central perspective paintings, yeah, then of course we start with the positioning our horizontal line, yeah, and as mentioned, the typical rule for it not to be in the middle of the page, so either higher or lower. And then we choose also our, let's say, this meeting point for parallel lines. Yeah, and again, probably not good to put it right in the middle. Just let's say shift a bit right or left. So left will be my case. And that's it. Then we just, so we have our view, we have our valley, and then we just think, okay, what is there parallel? And everything should come to this point. So let's say here is one part of the street. Yes, also leave the space for the trees. The tree is going to be here. And then we have the other side of the street. Let's say you can also choose first some point, you know, where it's starting. And then it also goes there. Yeah? I mean, it can be also, let's say, on the other side border of the page, you know, then you just, let's say, have more street and less this place. But we need place for, there is bench, street lamps, and they also will be going to this point. And the best way is always, let's say, so I choose the biggest street lamp, and then I kind of mark where it starts, where it ends, yeah, pretty much. So not till the top, but still pretty much high. Yeah? And then the easy way, so just from the top of the street lamp, like very lightly, yeah, because this is just like construction line. I go again to this point, and that's like everything is done. All the rest street lamps will just follow this line, because in real life they're all the same size, the same height, and they're standing, you know, parallel. So yeah, so the same will work for the trees. So let's say the first, of course, big one we can sketch. We might even not see where it ends. Yeah, so we can make it like bigger. And okay, here is some of the double tree or something. Yeah, and then again, we can draw the both lines. So from the, let's say, base, from the roots to the point. And okay, in this particular picture we've chosen, you can't really see that well. That's probably like just these big trees hiding everything else. So maybe just with this base point is fine. And what also is important to remember, then of course, all the objects are becoming smaller, and also the distance between the objects will be smaller. So let's say this is my first street lamp. The second street lamp, so let's say you have, like, we're drawing from the picture, but if you're, let's say, sitting there and in the middle of the street and trying to draw this view, you can also measure with your hand, with a pencil, and then what you see, that actually, like, the distance between the first street lamp and the second equals almost all the rest, distance for all the rest, like half, maybe a bit more, but still. So let's say my second street lamp will be here. So here we can also, let's say, measure. So yeah, and then so first and second, lots of space. Then again, you know, just like to practice to have your eyes trained, and I'll measure, let's say, the distance between the second and the third street lamp, and it takes like almost the half, yeah, so like half from first and second, and so still there is like noticeable space on my page, and then of course all the rests are smaller and closer, and then it's already like you almost don't need to measure, and then just kind of going. And okay, we have here a bench as well. Yeah, so for example, to be, let's say, completely accurate with all the perspective theory, the bench is also going to this point. So the lines of the bench that are parallel to the street, they're also going there. And it means we will have the yeah, so the first, like the closer part of the bench to us should be a bit bigger than the one far away. Bench. And yeah, and then we can more or less repeat also with the trees. So there is another way to, let's say, find the correct position. Now I can just, let's say, since I already have the street lamps, I can just notice, okay, the second tree, where is it living horizontally? So I just kind of draw the horizontal line from it, and it matches the third street lamp. Yeah, so I'm kind of like, you convert all this thing into a bit kind of geometrical. Yeah, and so I find the horizontal place, and I have also this my line from the base of the trees, and this helps me to find. So it's kind of, if you draw a lot, then your eyes are doing maybe this automatically, but it's also normal to do all those exercises and to check the points and so on to find the position. Oh, okay, there are also trees behind the street lamps. Yeah, to make them will be already much more easier. And again, the first one really huge, going outside of our page. And the rest ones are basically, it's more just and the vertical part, all the upper branches, then it's more just artistically mixed up in there. And it's also easy, it's kind of like behind each street lamp there is a tree or something like this. So what we can also mark, so then of course this will create this rainy feeling, is all the reflections of the street lamps. Yeah, and reflection is always vertical. Yeah, so there is, don't try to make it kind of, yeah. But the same story goes, the first reflection is wider than from each next lamp. Yeah, so I kind of do just like these tiny vertical lines, also just then to remember, you know, to leave those space more clean. We also have some, let's say, darker reflection. So there is darker reflections from the trees, and those light reflections, of course, are from the street lamps that are shining. There is also this shadow under the bench. So of course, all this, yeah, painting is very interesting exactly because of those. You can feel, okay, it's rainy, because I mean, if it wouldn't be rainy, there wouldn't be such reflections on the street. Yeah, so then we have a couple walking there. Yeah, you can decide, maybe you want to know people, but if you do, then again, the same story goes, very easy how to decide how big they are. You just check the points horizontally. So let's say I can check where their head are ending, like according to the street lamp or to the tree, for example. And or actually like almost at the horizontal line. And of course, if there are more people and some of them are more like far away from us, they're going to be much more tinier. And yeah, and the people very, very sketchy. So never try to draw exactly the hand or and it's always like just some like feel free to get messy with the lines when doing the people figure. And yes, and then you just get the feeling. Nice. Yeah, so feel free to finish, or probably I see Darren finished the sketch. Once again, and when we start working with pencils, and probably I've mentioned, yes, you have all these numbers on them, and just shows how soft or how hard is the pencil. And it's good to have, I don't know, at least maybe 3, 4, so something medium. And yeah, it's always good to have soft ones like 6B, 7B. Yeah, I think I found in the shop they even had 14B. It means like it's so soft, so dark. Yeah, but also those like at least 1, 2H, 3H is good to have, because it's very helpful when you need to show the difference, but not really too dark. So those hard pencils are also good to. Yeah, so I suggest we start with just let's say HB is good to start. Yeah, it's like neutral. 2B, it's also you don't really need to have like all of them, like each number, because actually with each pencil you can work. Let's say I can have 4B, that is, let's say, very like it's already kind of soft, but I can use it also like very lightly, yeah, where I need it. So it also depends the way you touch your pencil. Yeah, so, and also HB, I can touch a bit more harder, it will be darker. So and what's the other moment, like the way you sharpen your pencils? So not with the usual sharpener, yeah? So not with this one, but better always with the knife, because it's good to leave it a bit longer, this first part of, yeah, of and it's because the way you so of course if I need to do a small detail, I'm holding yeah, I can, like, my pencil is a pen, so I need just to put something very little. But usually when I need to cover bigger areas, then this is like the way I hold my pencil. And then in this case, yeah, this part will be kind of in the way of doing those wider, bigger strokes. So it's good just to cut it off a bit also. The knife. But let's start working in a process. We will manage. Okay, I will start. What shall we start with? So, I mean, we can start precising all our parts. Let's say maybe I'll precise a bit more the street lamps. Be careful, kind of leave also just the part that is with the light. So you just leave it kind of empty. Yeah, so later you can add also some strokes, but yeah. And then I can start precising a bit. And again, doesn't have to be like very, you know, too geometrically, because still it's, let's say we're doing the painting and drawing. If you see those highlights, those reflections, then of course you can also leave them white, because this is what gives the feeling of what kind of material it is. Yeah, so let's say, then to show this is metal, then we give much more of those highlights, because then when it's wet and then generally, yeah, sun and metal, then we get lots of those interesting reflections. Some kind of, but still I'm still a bit playing, so kind of, yeah. You should understand that pencil drawing has always like very different stages, and then of course you can have it always as a sketch, and then each sketch you can go and improve into the main drawing. So and the thing is that, okay, I think hi Karen.
Hiya.
Sorry, probably you got the message a bit late.
What message?
Yeah, that we're meeting. So first, yeah, it was one time, but then I was worried that Darren maybe can't on time. So we managed to shift it half hour earlier.
Oh, did we? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, sorry. But we waited, so we started just recently, and you've lost nothing. Just some boring theory about perspective that you already know, I imagine. Yeah. And we are doing just the first strokes of pencil drawing.
Okay.
Yeah. And my street lamps looks a bit falling. So also, what is also good practical way how to correct, you just use the side of your page that of course is straight, and then let's say I can mark also myself the central line of my street lamp, and then I can just kind of measure, and so just the central line of my street lamp has moved a bit, and that's why it feels like a bit falling. Yes, actually it was a good example. It's like it happens. So in all those objects, it's very practical also to draw this central line, because it means then from both parts of this line, you need to have the same size. So okay, here. Okay, a bit more straight. Okay, then maybe yeah, I can precise also maybe the rest. So then we also remember that the closer the object is, the more details we are showing, the more far away. There's like those street lamps in the far away, it's basically just the spot of light and dark stick, nothing more. For example, also the same way we can, like those construction lines we did from the top of street lamps, I can also do from the part where the light is ending. And this will be helpful for me to know also the size of this light. Yeah, because then of course it's also should be changing, should be getting smaller. Or let's say the other part, if like I did this very detailed, the first street lamp, then I want to say, okay, this part with lots of things going on where it's going to be ending. And again, I draw the line to our meeting point, and this is the place I'm getting it. So yeah, and I can do it, let's say, as many lines as I want with my street lamp. So, like if I want to get it like very, and then the same with the base. Let's say if you had the line that is the line of the street, and then you can also repeat the line of the base of street lamps, and then to have it. Okay, again, my street lamps are falling today all the time. What's going on? Yeah, so I do again the same exercise. I can then just measure. 3 millimeters. What's all right? Yeah. Okay, maybe a bit more of those street lamps. Yeah, but then of course, like the first or second, they're more precise, and all the rest, then they'll be getting already. Yeah, so I'll start straight away with the central lines to avoid my street lamps falling again. Yeah. So especially it's very useful when you draw a house, and then you can draw these lots of these construction lines, and then you have no problem doing the windows. You already have all of those positions in there. Okay, and just also to switch. I mean, I will finish the street lamps more later. Let's do a bit more of the foreground. So big tree. Yes, so don't underestimate this thing of size. So the object in front, closer to us is and yeah, well, apparently there somehow it looks the two trees, they're growing next to each other. Feel free also to make your own composition for the trees. And then we said, as we said, so again, the base of the trees are also going to this meeting point. Where are the next trees? We said, okay, the next trees, where are the street lamp? So in real life, if I'd be sitting, I'd be doing the same. I would just put my hand in front, like always straight, like you put your hand straight, you hold also with the other hand, you put under your elbow. It helps to keep your hand straight, and having hand straight when you measure is always important. Otherwise, your hand will be moving and you will have different measurements. So, and then the same thing. I check horizontally and vertically where each point lives, and so we did lots of kind of here, of course, perspective, construction. But in the pencil technique, like when you're already, improving it, the thing is you kind of can straight away do some dark parts, so lights and shadows. And it's just, so you find the line of the tree, say, okay, my tree is living here. And then all you do is decide from which side of the line it's darker or it's lighter. So if in this moment you see, okay, the trees look very dark, then you just, and like, and this covering is not perfect yet. It's more just to decide, which, where are the shadows, where are the lights. So later on, I will, of course, come back and precise how dark is something, and then let's say, okay, in this picture we have so pretty much busy, the street where the people are walking. So then, okay, we have people. And again, the size of the people, I just check again by those position vertically, horizontally. Maybe I'll make mine once a bit smaller, a bit more far away. So just to make them smaller means I sit them a bit higher on my paper and and later we can choose what color of this. And then we can mark, so also marking those borders of, so then we have, of course, we have like this main street, and then we have the parts where the trees are growing and the bench, and let's say, in real life there is always like little highness, difference of height. So of course it's good also to show this thickness things. Bench is there. So both looking now at the picture we're drawing or sitting in real life, you just kind of look and see, okay, where is darker, where is lighter, and then in game comes this tonality, and tonality means how much darker or how much lighter is something. And the more precise you manage to show this, then of course the more realistically it looks. Of course, if your aim is to do realistically, so but of course it's good always to start with this, and then if you want you can change something. So then we talked on this central part of the street, then we have lights, so very light areas because the street lamps are shining and there is reflection. So those ones I mark light, and then around them, the straight weight around them, I can make a bit more darker. Yes, something today is going in the central lines. I'm getting, so then also can check. So the reflection is always going straight down, and it's not going any angles. And Yes, and then of course under each street lamp there will be this light. Yeah, but of course each time it will be narrow and narrow as the street lamps are. And I think you can even, like in this picture, we're all, so imagine you have it also on your phones to see. I think you can even count kind of how many street lamps there are, but of course, feel free to sit much. Yeah. Yeah, and then you see also the light that reflects. So in the ones that are close to us, of course, the reflection gets till the end of the page, and probably would, needs to be bigger if we have more paper. But the rest ones, they will also go till some specific point, and there again you can use the help of this construction line going till the yeah. So I choose one lamp where I see, okay, reflection ended, and then I can draw this construction line, and then I know where the rest reflections will be ending. Yeah, so and of course it's always fun to check if this theory actually works. And like in real life, just also try to maybe, if you have walking somewhere and okay. Yeah, so then the white strokes under the street lamps, shadow in between. And okay, then we also have, we have shadow on people a bit. And then of course all other bunch of shadows that, of course, we have all the branches from the trees both sides. And in which moment, let's say, you change the pencil. So I've started now with 4B and I kind of continue. Yeah, but I started with a darker one, just, in purpose, you see it better here. But of course, it's always good to start just like, let's say, HB or maybe 2B. And then in the moment when you feel, okay, you don't have enough darkness from your pencil, yes, then it's the moment you can take, like you're taking the under, and then the hard pencil, so let's say 2H, it's coming then often more actually like going to the end of the painting, or sorry, drawing. Yeah, and this is, let's say, I would have a big area of light. Yeah, maybe let's say, yeah, it looks like here next to the trees between the people. But still I need to show there are some differences, but not so soft as with not so dark as with the rest. So there I use, let's say, this harder pencil, and yeah. So it's like barely can see, but like, of course, you can't leave some piece of paper just to just plain white. Yeah, and that's it. We keep on analyzing where are some dark parts. Yeah, then again, we can use our classical exercise of closing our eyes. And I mean, we should have actually done it, in the start. So I close my eyes and I see start away. Of course, all my street lamps are shining very nicely. All the reflections are always also shining very nicely. All the top is kind of all together. So when I open my eyes, of course, I see lots of differences there between the leaves. But nothing in there in this top part of the trees where these leaves are should be lighter than street lamps or the reflection of street lamps. So then actually straight away can go and create some kind of base of tonality up. Also very interesting. I mean, the trick is like you also leave a bit lighter around the street lamps. I mean, the part that is with the light. So also a bit like giving this feeling of shining. So like at the moment, I'm not really working on each separate leaf yet. So I'm still defining the tonal areas of my drawing. So I say, okay, street lamps are the brightest. The vertical parts of the trees are the darkest. And then, okay, there in between I have grayish. That is not the tree, but that is not the light. And like this, slowly, I build up. And then later, I spend time and I go into the details. So, but always, when I go into the details, I never forget this big concept of tonality that I've chosen or that is in reality. So and also about moving the pencil, it's considered that the way you move, you should always come back in the air. So because if I move it like I go one direction and I come back also touching the paper, then what happens? You very easily you get like those circles. So it's always better you choose one direction and you come back with your pencil in the air, and then you get the strokes rather than. Of course, sometimes like it's already you later as artist, you feel how your works, and somewhere I do this that I come back. But so now I'm also covering the large areas, and then we, as we talked, like hold your pencil, so just it has this capacity to move, So I'll show you now. So so hold your pencil far away, when you need those striking those big areas, yeah, and like can be different way, yeah. Sometimes I hold like this way and I cover, and sometimes I, yeah, like more. Yeah. Also, like, so I cover in one direction, then I change a bit the position of my hand, and I stroke. But of course, I try to avoid creating this chess thing. Yeah. So let's say don't cover it too like perpendicular. If you change this direction, then more with some different angles. And for example, here behind the trees, there is some like, so on the line of the horizon, there are kind of dark bushes. And here I actually use this, I come back at the same, yeah, so I move my pencil because it's like little area and it's much more darker. And yeah, so I can allow myself to move my pencil this way. And yeah, but like doing those bigger areas, then always better come back in street some. Yeah, and straight away again I can, and like example, I'm doing these bushes behind, and again I check who is darker, the trees that here are the foreground or these bushes. Well, they're kind of like, maybe this big tree in front of us is still the darkest. Yeah, but we also of course decide, I mean not decide, we show that it's only one part of the tree. It is so dark. Yeah, we have all these street lamps on the right side, so it means and there will be this part of the tree in the light. Yeah. So still now, of course, it's more important kind of to cover mostly the areas, and then you'll have the time to precise. Of course, if you are like already pro, then you can go almost, you know, with your first strokes getting into the right tonality. But that's maybe Da Vinci could do that, or like it's normal that we start our drawing light, and then we continue darkening the areas that should be darkened. Then of course can do something interesting with those branches. Yeah, kind of create maybe some interesting shapes. And again, somewhere lines, somewhere you can add just some bit darker spots. So interesting. Yeah, it should be. And don't forget about the falling shadows. So also the street lamps, they have those cast shadows going more towards the street. And then on this middle side of the street, it's already a bit maybe also, you can just play around because all those shadows there are more like connected with all your branches, so they can actually go very different. I mean, it's probably would be impossible if you either look in the nature, how it looks real, you do it. But if you draw it from your head, then yeah, you can't really know. So you guess, or this is why it's also important. They call it like yeah, the observation memory of artists. So when you're somewhere, yeah, it's like important. Yeah, so you kind of keep those memories, how it looks outside in real life in your head, and then it helps you to so here I'm playing very roughly with tonality, but precising already a bit more with the areas. So okay, there is some lighter tree in the end, and again, and some darker spots between the trees. So just making it more interesting. And then of course there in the end between the street lamps I also make dark, yeah, like in the middle part of the street lamps. So just only where the light is. Yeah, and then we just continue with the same like as usual test. So you can look at this picture that we're using and look at it with your halfly closed eyes. And then without changing the eyes position, move to your drawing. Does it looks the same? Yeah? Talking about those lights. Huh? And it doesn't, then it means you come back and darken. Yeah? And drawing light is, of course, very not easy because for it to start to shine, you need lots of darkness around. So you continue darkening, and this is the moment you say, okay, my pencil is already not enough, and then you take softer, you take 6B, 7B, 9B, because then it can manage them. And of course, you can play with the direction of your lines. So let's say if I have one area I need to cover like evenly, yeah, then I use it like, then I gently change the direction of the lines. So I did some verticals and then I did maybe, I don't know, 5-10 degrees and struck again. And then so not doing the crosses, yeah, the squares. But let's say you can use also the direction of your lines if it makes sense to, yeah, I don't know, the direction of some bush, direction of, yeah, and this is basically how the pencil drawing goes. So then you just keep on working on precising some parts. It's also, it's normal that it happens that sometimes, let's say you over darken some area with your pencil. So instead of moving your eraser, it's good you just tap it. Yeah, you just tap it, maybe then clean it, your eraser also from like on the table or something, and then it takes the darkness out. Yeah, so if you have some very dark spot in there, and because if you start moving your eraser, it will probably create lots of mess and and of course the thing what happens that let's say we started doing our street lamps, they're very like in one tonality level, yeah, and then we did all our work all around, and our street lamps kind of disappeared. Yeah, it means I need to come back and darken them. Yeah, and then of course, especially the
I'm pretty slow at this, but I'm moving.
Thank you, Luis. Thanks for comment. Yes.
Yeah, just a little bit of progress, but yours is looking good. Very good.
Me too, Louis.
Darren, what about you?
Yeah, mine's going okay, I think.
I've seen Luis now. Okay, he's on the street lamps. Very good. Yeah, I mean, we all are in our pace, and it's also because, of course, I spent years doing pencil drawings, and yeah, so I apologize. I should have taken it slower, but
2 hours is such a short period of time, though, isn't it?
yeah.
It's okay. If we have to go back over the recording, we can always do that.
But it's also feeling like with time you start feeling more brave with a pencil. Yeah, so just move it a bit more free and don't really worry if some lines get over. Yeah, so it's and with pencil, so it's also good to do those long drawings. But let's say you take a small piece of paper, so then of course it's like small work. But like one of the classical exercises is try to draw your keys from home. So yeah, you put them, also put the lamp, so you have nice shadows, and try to draw them, yeah, 1-to-1 in size to your paper, and then with all those shining and darknesses and so on, and you start soft, and then keep on precising the tonality. And so another good exercise also to practice is you take green apple and you take red apple, put both of them and try to draw with a pencil. But the way that your pencil drawing shows which apple is which, so it means actually with our pencil drawings we can show more or less what color we're talking about. So because if you darken too much somewhere, then it feels okay, maybe it's dark blue or brown or yeah, and if it is, yeah, then I touch lighter, and those little tricks. And then okay, then we have very dark, so all the trees are dark. And again, yeah, since I've worked all around, my trees are now disappeared, and it's normal. I go back and I precise them. And then we have also pretty much dark shadows of those trees as well. On so next Tuesday, I will bring kids to the museum, And so this is the national painter of Latvia. So there's his exhibition, and they will allow us to to be there and to draw. And he was the one who painted lots of landscapes, and especially he probably didn't like summer. He always drew this very rainy, like spring. Even not rain, it's more like when the snow is melting and all this like nasty weather. And he was actually like going in all the rubber boots in there to do all those paintings. So he has lots of reflections. And one of the tasks that, so those ones who want easy, then they can just try to copy any painting. But for those ones who will say advanced, the task is to study reflections. So then it's typical, there is, let's say, lake or the river, and then you have reflection there of trees, of sky, and then of course you need to study what is darker, what is lighter. Usually reflection is always darker than the object. So let's say if I have the lake and then I have the forest in the background, and then I have this, I'm reflecting this forest in the lake, it will be always darker, the paint that I should use in the water than those trees being there. And because water in itself, it gives those moments. Then of course you should also look if the water is still or if it's moving. So if there is wind or it's sea, then of course you show also all those. So so a little bit also to our this. So we have all those reflections here of. Of course it's not. It's a street with, it was rainy, so it's wet, but pretty much dark. So. And then it's also good to kind of recap Rembrandt paintings, because he was the master of showing light and shadow, like light and darkness. So you could even, like, I was reading some review and they said that you could even feel the time in Rembrandt's paintings, because he was, let's say, so there would be like, let's say maybe the green dress, and then it would be the darkness, and then this green would be slowly showing up to the light point. So only in the light point you actually see the green color, and you say, okay, the whole jacket is green, but it was such a subtle movement of those. And of course, for the biggest, like the strongest lights, you need to put the strongest shadow next to it. Otherwise it won't shine. And so, for example, again, what I can check. So I have this side of the street where the bench is standing, street lamps, and then I have the side of the where the like bushes are. And again, so easy way to show the differences. I check, okay, which side is darker, which is lighter. I see, where the street lamps are standing is lighter there, of course, probably because of the street lamps. So then I just can easily go up and cover everything darker. so to the side of the bushes. And I don't really need to go in between already each tree and each street lamp. I just do those wide strokes of my pencil and cover them all together, because all this thing of bringing together, yeah, works, especially also in this. Yeah. And then remember, of course, we can also draw with eraser. So let's say if I have darkened up too much somewhere, then the eraser is actually a very nice way that I can draw some little details. And don't be scared, use also your knife for eraser. So also just make some very sharp, pointy cut. And then you can get with it like anywhere. And okay, once I have some moment, I'll show where it can work. Yeah, feel free also to send if you feel to, or if you want to discuss. Yeah, also taking a picture might also help you to see those. Yeah, if there is something, again, jumping out, it's too light or too dark. And yeah, so also reflections from street lamps doesn't have to be all the same white. Yeah, maybe let's do some closer to us, more brighter, the rest a bit also calmer, so it doesn't look. For example, here is a good moment. I would like to use my harder pencil. Yeah, so then I have here, I left a bit light around the street lamp, but now they're the same. So what's inside my lamp and around. So now I can use my hard pencil. So it's not too soft, it's not getting it too dark, but it helps me to and it's over and over. You come back and darken where it's need to be darkened. Yeah, so you see, okay, maybe the people figure, you darken a bit, you put some accent. So all the time, yeah, halfway close your eyes, check where it's need to be. And okay, and then we have also all these very, very, then the feeling of the leaves. So let's say my drawing now is more the feelings that it's not autumn, it's already winter. Yeah, because there are no leaves. And then it just kind of time that you need to spend doing all those parts. Yeah, so when you also, let's say you already kind of have your busy drawing, and then you start also working on some details. So what happens, of course, the side of your hand, like mine, is already pretty much gray, yeah, and so Of course, you can, yeah, you clean it, but still, yeah, since you move your hand, yeah, you're gonna be touching and then you also ruin it. So it's also normal practice. Then you just take another piece of paper, and let's say now I need to work on my trees. So my hand will be over the rest of the drawing. Then I just put here my piece of paper, yeah, and then I can work on my trees, and then I don't ruin my drawing by yeah. And yeah, then as I said, doing all this filling of the leaves, it's nothing more than just time, yeah, spending and doing all those details, and yeah, and of course, like start, you know, from big to small. So let's say marking first the bigger areas where is lighter, darker, and maybe somewhere there in between. Yeah, you can do already a bit smaller separations. And actually, this is a good way where you can use your eraser that you've cut it like some. Yeah, so I will experiment on this now. Yeah, and and in some moment, of course, you'll feel, oh, I need softer and softer pencil. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be always like very, very dark. You can make, let's say, the same feeling that the street lamps are shining and it's rainy and the trees are dark and so on. Also in kind of very light manner. Yeah, so your whole painting can be actually very, very light. Yeah, so this is this thing of, it's actually more complicated to do it this way. Yeah, it's much more easier to take 10B pencil and just, you know, play and put all these darkness, you know, and much harder to. Yeah, so now I've started to play a bit with those effect of the leaves. And what I do, I just do kind of those dark parts. And so already I get some areas a bit lighter that can work as a light part of the leaves. And if I need, I can then later also clean up with eraser, but then again, very careful. So it's not, you don't clean too much. So it looks lighter than the light of the street lamps. Yeah, so. And for example, now, so I did those strokes of darker leaves and it looks now like a bit too spotty or so our usual practice is, yeah, just take and unite them. So just very bravely, like with wider strokes, go in a bit all together. Yeah, and don't be afraid, you will not lose, yeah, how it may seem or feel that, oh, I made all those details and now I'm kind of covering them Yeah. There will be still the difference will be you can feel, but all your drawing will just gain in yes. And always checking, yes, this tonality, let's say this tree in the end of the alley, like where our point is, it's light. So I've played around it and I left a bit lighter, but now I feel it started to contradict with my street lamps. So no fear, I just go and make it all together, not only this light spot, but also those shadows around, just with white big strokes. I make it all together, back in there, yeah. So this tonality game. And of course, yeah, it works to show what's important, what's not important. Yeah, so this big tree in foreground that has all this colorful stuff that, let's say, I also then plan and experiment to do this. So now I'm just kind of going around a bit, doing some darker areas. Yeah, so just kind of also the tree will not be only colorful, it needs to have those bit black spots in between. And don't forget about the cast shadows. Yeah, they're also good. Nice. Yeah, and then again, you might need again go back to your street lamps if they've disappeared, because street lamps, yeah, metallic, very dark. Yeah, especially like feel more brave to put this more darker accents exactly on those heads of street lamps, because that's also where the more light is. And so no one, not even there, is sending yet. Good. I was waiting. Let's analyze Darren's drawing. Okay, let's try to. So yeah, probably will be hard to see for you guys on the screen, but you can also check it, of course, in the chat. So yeah, no, very, yeah. Wow, not bad at all. First of all, very awesome, like precise construction of street lamps. Even I didn't get that. Let's say, yeah, very. And I like how your middle street looks actually more narrow, and you have more space on the left side where the trees are.
Yeah.
Kind of actually looks more cool, I think. It's like something going on there. So in construction, yeah, very perfect. Horizon, this meeting point, all the lines going there, including street lamps and yeah. So then let's analyze maybe from exactly this tonality point of view. In general, not bad. Like I don't see, you know, some huge errors that let's say something too dark or something too light is not on its place. Yeah, but like let's say maybe to emphasize a bit more the feeling. Yeah, of course, let's say maybe the first tree and the first street lamps. Yeah, you can always kind of go and repeat a bit with softer and just make it darker, let's say.
Yeah.
A bit like because like also maybe not too much, yeah, because somehow you managed that all your drawing looks very, yeah, it's good, this connection between light and dark, yeah. So of course don't do it maybe like as dark as I have here mine.
Because I've not done too much on that tree on the left hand side. Because looking at if we're going to add the colour to it in a minute, I've noticed that the trunk of the tree is actually painted as well. It's not just leaves. So I was saving that so I could just put a tiny bit of colour to the actual trunk of the tree as well. So that's why I've not gone too much on that one there.
Okay, yeah, good. You told me, yeah. The only dark spot that a bit contradicts me is right in the end of the street. So here, like where I'm holding my pencil, yeah. And as again, how you remove it, you just tap a little bit, just like I tap a bit with my razor, a bit calmer, because.
Well, something else I've been doing rather than using that, I've actually been using my finger.
Yeah, okay. No.
and I've basically been smudging it, so that's how I've managed to get the effect on some of mine there. So, because I've actually rather than just using ordinary paper, I've been using the acrylic paper.
Yeah.
So it's a bit shiny sort of thing. It's got a tiny bit of that gloss thing, so gives it a bit of a texture. But yeah, it's quite effective. Rubbing my finger over it to actually sort of smudge it a bit, and it sort of blends the shading in a bit.
Cool, yeah. Darren, you're very talented. The second drawing we do with pencil, you are.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I would also maybe like do a bit more with this first street lamp and the light around. Yeah. Just kind of play a bit more so it doesn't look a bit too circly. The light just exactly maybe again with your finger, yeah. Then because it looks a little bit unnatural, kind of. Maybe mine ones also now here, like you know, just to so it's not too circular, maybe a bit more like we do with the paints, we blend out more softly, yeah, instead of and maybe even a bit darker those, yeah. So even on my drawing, I feel I need like I left those areas light. But now, as I progress, I see I need to darken a bit those circles around street lamps. So, yeah, it feels a bit more natural, let's see, because
Mhm.
it's the street lamp shining and not so it stays kind of grayish, but it's lighter grayish than the
Yeah.
cool. Nice. So anyone else to share, or I mean, you guys feel free. Just if you need to work in progress. Luis showing a bit higher, please. Okay. Yeah, I see. Like
Let me take a picture.
Cool. Yeah. No, very nice. Just one little comment. So perspective is all very correct. All the street lamps. As an artist, like when you do your drawing should, like in each moment, should look like right in this tonality. Yeah. So for example, Luis has now, like the first street lamp is very dark, but the rest, there is like, okay, there is still, you still need time to work to do the rest. So probably it was a bit maybe too early to make the street lamp this like so active. Yeah, you always keep on building on top. Yeah, so I say, of course, I do my street lamps first, of course, a bit darker, the last softer. But these differences between how light or dark, yeah. So
I just sent you the picture.
cool.
Yeah, I'm starting to slowly darken. I do have those other trees drawn on the other side as well. They're very light, so I'm starting to shade those, and just taking my time. I do like kind of the darkness of that one dark lamp. I need to proportionally change the darkness of the other lamps as well.
Exactly.
So
yes.
I will work. I'll do that. But I like to pencil draw. I really like this drawing. So anyway, I'm taking my time. I don't know.
No. All good comments. So I agree. Your first street lamp is awesome. Yeah, very dark, detail, expressive. So of course you just leave it, and then you need to, of course, the other ones to bring to the level. Because now, for example, the street lamp number 4 and 5, they look a bit darker than second and third. Yeah, and this is a bit kind of okay. So means you need to darken others. And like just the comment I made before, it's just, I think maybe it's also easier maybe that you progress like from light to dark all together slowly, rather than say like you did, okay, this is my street lamp, it's that dark, because then maybe you kind of a bit more confused, like, okay, so which part's going more darker, how darker, yeah. So but I really like all your lines of the trees, also very creative, like very like with time, and very interesting shapes, and interesting those emptinesses between the trees. Something went like the trees behind the last trees, they got the height of the street lamps.
Yes.
So I mean, maybe there are such short trees like bushes, of course, yeah, but then I feel like a huge jump between these first 3 trees that are till the top of the page, and then suddenly behind the 4th and 5th street lamp, they just kind of didn't get out of this construction line that belonged to the street lamps and not to
I see it now.
the
I saw one tree that's kind of short. Do you see the dark tree?
Yeah,
that's kind of short. And then I went by that, but now I noticed that the other ones are taller.
Yeah,
And
the the trees will have their own so the trees also going to this central point, but they'll be going from somewhere like, let's say, okay, imagine maybe my first tree is outside the paper that big, and then I draw this line and it's gonna be in the area.
Okay.
Yeah, so but cool, Luis. I really also like how you work with pencil, and of course it needs all the time to darken all the stuff. And now let's take a look what Karen has. Interesting. I like how Karen interpreted all the jumping. So nice. Karen took the perspective point, the meeting point on the top of the page. That's such a creative, so we don't see the sky, we see just the road, nice. And then all our street lamps are going there. So wow, very, very creative. A little bit, maybe I feel now a bit too similar and kind of between the street lamps and trees. And maybe this first tree is kind of, okay, it's hiding behind the bench, but since the bench is still not, it's still like white, not being drawn, I feel like this tree is jumping, like it's in the air, because like, since we have all these things in the line, then this first tree is missing a bit the base, just like visually. So of course it's logically it's behind the bench, but then the bench just maybe give it a bit darker marks. So because also like this the same story I wanted to explain when talking about Luis' work, that in each moment of process your drawing should look like that you can almost finish it. So kind of it's like it's considered to be the correct way to work. That way, but of course you can do also like Luis did first. My big street lamp first is dead dark, and I work on the rest. Also the reflections, in reality they're always going vertically down. So but again, we always come back to the same explanation. If you as an artist say this is the point why I wanted to make it this way, perfect. But if your aim is to draw realistically, then these white areas should go just purely vertically, and your ones are also kind of
all over the place,
each changing a bit there in their own, like but it gives
they're also too similar in color. They don't get lighter as they go back. I can see that on your on the picture of yours that you're showing.
And the street lamps also maybe like discuss a bit also the size of the light area, that they also should be changing from big to small, and especially like the big should be like even much bigger. And so for example your so first and second, okay, the second maybe also needs a bit more detailing, but it looks like the second even a bit bigger than the first. And but then also the size of the stick, of the vertical part of street lamp, then also they look kind of the same, the first, second, third, fourth. So just kind of, and it's not very hard to change. You just kind of make a bit more fat the first one, and it's going to be solved in seconds. So so maybe also, okay, mine one is just like kind of too slim in general, but also this situation also is for me, so I'm also doing this. And And it's normal, like we draw and then we take a picture, look at it and say, aha, yeah, some maybe this also the break from this level of height, so where the street lamps are staying, can go maybe a bit more confident, yeah, because then maybe it feels a bit like just can't really sure is there is a different, like in the street we're used that this part is kind of, yeah, we step on it, and but you have one line and it's also like the same, yeah, so a bit more bigger at, especially here, yeah, at the start, and then it goes almost to nothing there, yeah. So in perspective, yeah, we always show these differences, yeah, close to us, lighter, and the trees also very, very, like Louis, very creative, all these upper parts of branches. You should also, let's say, think and decide, so what is darker, the space in between the trees or the trees? Yeah. So I see you've left the light on the trees. That is correct. But don't forget that this light on the trees should be darker than the light of the street lamps. So everything but the street lamps should be darker. So now it's kind of deciding, yes. So both making trees in general altogether darker, so then our light appears in street lamps, but then also decide, is it this in between part darker, or the trees are darker? And I mean,
both probably.
It doesn't kind of, the differences can be very subtle, yeah. Maybe like all this area in general is just in the shadow, yeah. So maybe even I also can work and do a bit more, but still, like each line you draw, and then you kind of need to make a decision. Okay, which way I go with the shadow, and then it just by looking to the nature, like, well, what's the picture is telling you to portray. But still very creative. I always like Karen's work because it's it's less realistic,
more abstract.
Yes. So I comment from the perspective of realistic and all these construction rules and so on, but honestly I'd prefer to leave the way it is, and because I love it, and it looks very creative. So
thank you.
Yes, I hope could help with the comments.
Their comments are all good, and I work with you because you work differently from the way that I do. So I really appreciate that.
Karen, let's do one lesson that you are teaching, and then I can learn from you. the way you create the abstract.
And 8 hours later.
I mean, we can do one huge day of. And
yeah, I will dial in tomorrow morning your time to show you that I'm still halfway done.
Cool. So just to kind of one can work lots of on this tonality, building it up. So I will just skip a bit, and we'll play a bit with the oil pastel to just experiment to give all the same. If anyone is more like better goes to acrylics, also acrylics could work here very nicely. Doing some spots. And So. Let's take a look. Okay, it has, yeah. So it has accents, of course, on the people. The girl is some yellow jacket and lots of bunch colors on the first main tree, and the bench is also, and a bit even in the street lamps, has nice orangey touches on the streak and yellowish on the light. Yeah, so depends, can go slowly, doesn't have to be that colorful. Yeah, okay, maybe like I'll experiment a bit with the yellow, so maybe just a few touches. Yeah, be careful also with the light, because of course it gets also dirty, the yellow. So if there is some area you really want to put clean yellow, make sure your stick is clean, and because it will be also be darkening with the pencil that we already have. And yes, and they also did like a nice touch on the tree with the yellow. Yeah, but ooh, I did my too messy. Haha. Okay, this is a good example how all the pastels are working on the pencil. It gets very, very intense and very. So, but what I know about oil pastels, that you can actually clean them outright. That's probably not. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I mean, I've set this dark part in the tree. It means all the rest I also need to do kind of dark. Well, but then it will come back almost to oil pencil drawing. But okay, guys, don't take a look and don't follow, because it's kind of more ruining. Just yeah. Maybe acrylics actually would be a better choice now, thinking back. But okay, nothing to do. I will just try to finish with the bit, then kind of oil pastel story. Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I did a mistake and I darkened the area there with the tree. So it means like all the rest that is important and has to be dark then also needs to be worked on. Come back. Yeah, so probably if the idea is to do the pencil and then oil pastels, it's probably just leaving more just empty, because pencil is really making the mess. That is always, it's all the experiment. Yes, of course, oil pastel is much, much darker than pencil. Than even those dark pencil parts that I tried to left at the tree. Of course, they can't compete, yeah, with the parts. So, yeah. Yeah, so with the pencil part, the color part, everyone can feel free to experiment on your own. How it's Okay. Wow. Yeah, the difference, like oil pastels, of course, this exactly this tonality stuff. So even my darkest pencil parts can compete with lightest parts of oil pastel. Darren, what you went with to do the colors?
I've gone for acrylics.
Yeah, yes.
I'm not overly happy with how it's coming out, but I think I can put it round.
So, and how it works with the acrylics. No, mine one I already lost hope. I'm just kind of think. Yeah. Okay. Yes, also not forgetting cast shadows, so don't leave the trees and street lamps and flying in the air. Mhm. So I'm very curious to see how Darren did with colors, and I really hope looks better. Yeah, I should have gone with acrylics. Let's try to save.
How would it work with acrylic paint, you know, with a brush
Yeah.
to get more of because I like yours a lot.
Yeah.
And but if you wanted to match his colors look more like a little blob, you know, like a drop. Would it be acrylics that you would use, or would it be watercolor, or like if just I'm imagining almost just dropping drops like this of paint, you know?
Yes,
Would
yes.
that? I think yours looks really good with the type of shading that you did in the back. That's a little more abstract from his. His still shows, even the black and white, the grays, they show like almost the form of leaves. So I think that's why he used that method for the color too. But I like the way yours matches the way the shading you did with the black and grays.
Yeah, thanks Lee for comment. So looking at his painting, I imagine of course he went with acrylics, oil, or
I believe he actually used oil for his paintings.
Okay, oil, but with a brush, right?
Maybe
I
he
guess
uses
so.
palette knife, you know, those kind of very
Oh,
squarey
okay.
strokes. No, looks like.
Yeah, yeah, that's possible.
And yeah,
I started out using a palette knife with acrylics when I started adding color just now, and I found it really difficult to kind of get that squareness, but I couldn't find a square-ended palette knife, which might be part of the issue.
I think, what could I use, like a transparent to overlay this with, so I don't mess it up, so I don't ruin it, and I can experiment with different media. What could I use? Just a clear plastic of some sort, or?
I would even can go, you know, just those plastics that you use for paper, you know, like where we put some documents inside.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Those pockets, kind of, what's the name? So
Yeah, it's gone from my brain. I like the colors. I like a bit of color.
Okay, I'm not working on mine anymore. I guess it's I got it as an experiment. So if it's pencil drawing, should leave it pencil drawing, or then have a good experiment with acrylics. But yeah, oil pastels. I just basically just redid all the drawing, but in oil pastels. Then makes no much sense. But,
Oh,
yeah, but happy to see later your outcomes.
Much later.
I've just done the tree, but I haven't done anything else yet.
Okay, but still, yes. Thanks. So you will send it, yeah?
Yeah, I've just sent it. I think I sent it. Yeah, I sent it. Oh, it's buffering for some reason.
Okay.
I am away from my... Why are you doing that?
Yes, I'm happy we got also this color experiment, and we see how each. Okay, here. Ooh, sweet Karen. Yes.
Let's see. Nice.
Yeah. The only thing now, so you've changed this perspective point. Yeah, very cool. Going to the top of the page, and all your street lamps changed, but then probably the tree didn't.
Yes.
So
I can completely see that. That one side I've got it as they've got it, as he's got it, and the other side I've got it as I've done it.
Like,
that's okay, actually.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, the tree you did the way he has it on his painting, and yes, but let's say surrealism. Karen is waiting for you.
Yeah.
Like, maybe just stop knocking to the door of realism, and
yeah, maybe that is really the answer. Is
because
I wouldn't see you every week if I did that.
And let's take a look at Darren's. Also very excited to see. Yes.
Yeah, can you have a shadow in the bottom right corner? There's a bit of a shadow where that's just for lighting in here.
Yeah. Cool. The street lamps got the color, people. The tree is awesome. Like also the trunk at the bottom, yeah, with this yellowish, orangey brown. And of course, all the bluishness. Yeah. And did you went also like for the background generally, no? With
Sorry?
Did you do also like the rest with some paint, no?
No, the background is all purely pencil still. It's just a tree, just a tree, the people, the bench, and each of the lights going down there. So
cool. Because it looks like very interesting, this all the rest.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, just looking at his original sort of thing, because the trees and everything's a lot darker sort of thing. So I'm just wondering, do I need to try and make everything else with the pencils a bit darker, perhaps?
So definitely maybe do a bit also include the shadow of the tree. A little bit so of the big tree. Yeah, because just so it's the part. Otherwise, then as I always say, it's also the people. Yeah. Otherwise, it looks they just like I don't know, flying or put on top, so they're separate. So this shadow always gives. But so I'm here zooming in, and I see you have like some interesting paper there. So it has all this texture.
Yeah, as I said, it's the acrylic paper I've used, so it's giving that texture. I've just discovered him up. I've just discovered him up in my pencil case thing here. I've got a set of charcoal pencils, so I might just use a bit of charcoal to actually try and emphasize some of the dark, perhaps.
But very cool effect. I'm just zooming in and trying to explore. Somehow it all feels so, like softly brown beige and blurred and totally awesome with all those street lamps going inside, like wow, like very cool effects somehow. So that's why I'm trying to understand what's like the paper or the pencil and like those in this exactly middle of the Darren, soon we will be visiting your exhibition. So where I should travel to Portsmouth now, or
oh, don't say Portsmouth. Oh.
No, what have you done, Evie?
I'm sorry, it was Jules in Port, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, is it also the fight between the?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. But it's not connected to football or something, or is it?
Football. The fact we both got dockyards for the Navy, so yeah.
But very cool experiment. I'm excited how we did today.
Just sent mine.
Ooh, yay.
I'm still working on the black and white.
But really love how you get this tree very in such a close up, and you have another tree there in between. Yeah, very cool composition. The composition is always, of course, very.
Yeah, I'm right-handed, so I'm working from my left to my right, so that I don't smear very much. I use a napkin under my hand.
Yeah. Wow, such a different artworks you all guys did. You know, of course, like all but yeah, all these drawings of trees of Louis is very like it's worth the time to Nice job. Yeah. So of course, if when you finish, please share the end result. I'll stop recording.